Yeah.
Woo!
So
We got a
yeah.
show for you today.
I was going to talk about. I thought we were talking about Ben's hair this whole time, and then you got all excited.
I just got a haircut today, actually.
Did you?
Did you notice?
All right.
I did. I got to get freshened up before I leave for the weekend every time.
Did Cass encourage that haircut?
She was like, "You might not be able to. It might be in your eyes in the helmet. Yeah, you should probably clean that up a little bit."
No, that's why you wear the headband thingy like all the cool kids.
Oh
I
my
know,
God.
I know. I've tried it, but I don't.
Do-rag. Get a do-rag, dude.
It kind of bunches up in my hair there. I got to try it again. But
cornrows. Cornrows next time. Right?
That's right.
No cornrows.
No cornrows?
No cornrows. Hold on.
Well, dude, it's episode 40 of the Weekend Hangover, fellas. And Ben Smith here, super bike racer here in MotoAmerica. Everybody might know him from the double-decker pit box. So that's kind of neat.
And a 4th place at Road America Race.
Privateer finish in 4th.
We will hear about that later.
Yeah.
Because we're going to give Ben some time to talk about Road America and the awesome videos that Freddie's been getting put out on his Superbike Unlimited channel. Been amazing. I watched it with the kids, and they were all screaming, "Mr. Ben, Mr. Ben!"
You know, what I think is the best about that is the honesty of it. You know, I mean, Freddie's putting it out there. You know, it's not all unicorns and butterflies, and you know, the people are kind of getting to see like a little inside look at like what's going on over there. You know, I dig it.
Yeah, yep, it's been great. It's legit, and yeah, hopefully people can tell that like they've put a lot of effort into how these films come out. So
yeah,
it's gonna be cool to see it all throughout the season.
Right on. Yeah, so I guess we're gonna be here to talk crap about GP stuff, right?
About whose?
GP stuff.
Oh yeah, GP stuff.
MotoGP.
Let's dive in because I know Ben has an early flight in the morning.
Wait, you want to know how early, Bob? I mean, luckily we know.
You got me there at 5.
My flight boards at 5:25.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
well, Empowered Charters is picking me up on Thursday at 3 a.m. So
every time I log onto Facebook and I'm flying out, I'm taking some Uber, and this guy's riding in a Cadillac SUV. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm like, how do I get this hookup?
This sponsorship is nice.
Yeah, it looks like it.
You know what? Let me work on that for you.
Of course, I knew that's the reason why I said it. I knew you've had somebody.
No, we got to get a charter sponsor for Ben.
Compass. Yeah,
Dude,
Compass.
if you do that for him, then I'm gonna have to do that shit for Bob.
Yeah. I'm gonna message Bob about it and then tell him we'll hit
no,
up Ben.
don't do that, dude.
No, if I'm riding,
he's already a needy bitch.
I'm gonna tell him you said that.
Dude, I tell that to his face all the time.
Yeah.
Look.
Until he Stockton slaps you, and then it's all over. Anywho, well, let's start it off with the Christian Daniel watch.
Yes, I'm the Christian Daniels guy, and I say Daniels because it's the dad and the son. You know, team effort.
Yep.
Both the Danielses. Yeah. So Christian, you know, he got a taste. You know, Rookies Cup this weekend, dude. He got a taste. He led both races. He led quite a bit more laps race 2. Ended up P9 in both the races, and you know, he sent me all this. He sent me voice messages that were hilarious, and it was like filled with all kinds of shit. I'm like taking notes, right? And then he comes out with a documentary that has a lot of the stuff as well. But you know, basically, he's making progress. He was talking about how hot it was on Saturday, and you know, the last lap in race 1, you know, he messed up the last lap strategy. You know, like he saw an opportunity to go for the lead and took it, knowing full well that he was just going to get murdered on the straightaway. So, you know, went from 1st to 9th at the finish. Yeah. So
did he lead in the last corner?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mugello, you know, and then race 2, he was like, I'm going to push harder this time, you know, because like the pace was quite a bit off from qualifying. So he felt like he had pace in the can to kind of throw it in there and basically send it. And you know what, man? Like he just couldn't get away. He said that he spent so much time battling and defending his position that he couldn't really get away. So
yeah, you can't run the fast line to start hitting.
So yeah, again, he led a bunch, and same thing. You know, strategy wasn't quite where he wanted to be. You know, he thought he would come out in second, basically, and get it done. And you know, the guy that came out in first won the thing. You know, so it was a good idea at the moment, but doesn't take into account getting drafted. Like, you know how they fan out like 10 wide, right?
Yeah, crazy.
So yeah, so you know, I think basically he's like, you know, going from P1 to P8 in one corner is pretty nutty. He got a taste of being at the front. And just a heads up, all the winners of Moto3 also were dudes that have won Rookies Cup stuff and led Rookies Cup last season. So he thinks he's on the right path. He's learning a lot. He's going to keep working and trying to get to this top step of the podium.
That's all strategy.
I think he's got a taste now. Ben, you got a taste of the podium, kind of almost, right?
Yeah.
Does that motivate you even more, dude?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, if you get anywhere close, you're like, man, like just because you know that, I mean, I'm sure he's in the same situation. Like he knows that he can do it. And
holy shit, honestly, KD's in the chat. Bro, what is he in the chat for? He could have been on the freaking show, dude. What is he up 3 a.m., bro? It's like way past his bedtime.
Who is this?
Christian Daniels in the chat.
Oh, well then perfect timing for what I'm saying. Like I'm sure that he's feeling the same thing and he can tell me if I'm right or wrong. But even if the result, you know, you say he finished 9th, but like even though he got a taste, you know, I'm in that boat right now, you know that you can do it. And he knows where, I mean, it's simple, but like he knows what he did wrong, what he did right. It's all about confidence. Like that's really what it is.
And it's actually not Junior. Even though it says Junior, it's Dad running Junior's YouTube account.
So well, then, you know, Dad's doing something right too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Dad's been doing something right for years. I've known those guys for like years, since before they left for Spain. And, you know, they've, I would say that Senior is definitely not the stereotypical racer dad. Like he's helping him stay on the path he needs to stay. But if the kid decided tomorrow to stop doing this crap, like they would take up soccer like that.
That's,
you know,
that's the right way to do it. I mean, yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, again, obviously they've made it this far, but you can't push him too much. Like the kid's either going to want it or he's not.
He had to take an exhaust off the CBR. That's why he's up so late.
Yep.
Of course. I mean, you know, I will say this, you know, that's pretty impressive that he's taking exhaust off CBRs, but your boy was tearing down an R1 engine the last couple of days. And yeah, I disassembled the cylinder head yesterday. So I'm basically a mechanic now.
Wow. So Richard's going to trade you out, put some tools in your hand, take the GoPro out of your hand.
Okay.
His bike he's working on, he doesn't care. It's not a custom.
No, dude. I'm going to tell you guys, like,
no.
I broke in one setting. I broke 2 12mm sockets, and I didn't get murdered after.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Were they Snap-on?
Right? Yeah. So there you go.
Man.
Yeah, because, you know, like I'm so into glitter that I not only can have it on my paint, but I have it in my oil too.
Yep.
Wow.
I did get to spend a little time Sunday morning with Mr. Godin at KWS working on my bike. So
yeah.
Oh, did you really? I was just for Godin too.
Yeah.
Was he doing air guitar in there too, or?
No, he was actually right behind my bike. He's working on Duplantis's bike, his R6. So he's getting him ready for Barber this weekend. So Mr. Millennium was getting some help.
He got me right the other day. The practice bike stock bike would not start. And yeah, turned out it was combination between the idle was too low and the fouls were being plugged. It was running too rich down at the bottom. Long list of things. Needless to say,
Got it squared away.
He got it squared away. Yeah.
Nice. Well, just a bit of weekend hangover news. My shop got built. Anybody didn't see on Facebook, so I've been excited to be in there doing a lot of activities. Moving around. Got a lot of space now, so definitely going to get the shop up and running, and we'll get some actual content for YouTube out of RBG Motorsports World Headquarters. So pretty stoked about that.
I saw all the beams and stuff that all basically the kit for your shop on a trailer.
Yeah.
And he's like, check this out. I'm like, what are you building a stage? You're gonna have like Burning Man at your house, bro?
It went up. The dudes worked from 9 o'clock till about 7:30. They put the whole thing up, and it was hot. It was hot and steamy all day. So I felt bad for those dudes, but they got it done.
Right on.
They got it done. So
that's cool.
yeah. So moving on to Moto3. I know Dustin watched it, so it was a pretty awesome race. Any good stories out of that one?
I mean, look, first of all, I'm just going to be real. I only recognize the names from the Rookies Cup from last season, right? And I traditionally, everybody knows me, I don't watch Moto3, but I watched it anyway, and I'm glad I did because MotoGP, for the most part, was a snooze fest, dude. Like, after the first couple of laps, it was like nap time. But Moto3 and Moto2 delivered. There was a pretty healthy battle in Moto3 where these dudes were just murdering each other. Like, I mean, there was like what 4 or 5 of them just murdering each other every corner and sawing each other's wheel off, bumping each other. Kind of like a little bit about what happened between the battle for third in Moto2 the last 2 or 3 laps, but it was like that almost the whole race in Moto3, dude. Like, just absolutely murdering. So, yeah.
That's all that class is. It's just murder each other.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you got like 15 dudes within a second.
Yeah, they're all so close. Like, that's, I mean,
can you imagine a Superbike race like that, dude, where you got like
probably would end terribly if that was a Superbike race. Yeah. Especially at a place like Mugello. I feel like that
Trap City, man. I mean, with Moto3, it's like who can stay consistent throughout the entirety of the year and maintain a pretty solid podium streak? Because unless there's a definitive guy who keeps winning like Pedro did, for that whole season, he won, God knows,
like 1 year
over half of the races he won.
Yeah.
And essentially, if you're a Moto3 and you're winning, at least more than 3 races, you've got a good chance because there's, like you said, when Christian was going down, it was like, you went from first to ninth.
Yeah.
In the straight and before the finish line. So if you're not getting your strategy right and you're somehow ending on the podium on a consistent basis, man, you got a real chance at the championship. If there's no fun.
I saw that keyless dude. That's one thing I noticed about him is that, early on in the race, he got sucked in the draft and was down in like 9th or 10th, and it's like, holy crap. And then, the very next lap, he was 4th.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he and so Keyless and Carpe from the Rookies Cup, like both those guys were consistently at or near the front, except for that 1 or 2 laps with Keyless. But I mean, it looked like a remake of Rookies Cup, honestly, with those two.
Yeah.
So
what are the times like compared Moto3 to Rookies Cup at a place like that where they're both?
I wasn't paying attention to their times, bro.
I'm sure they're probably like a second off.
Yeah,
lap, at least from the slowest guy, because I mean it's a pre Moto3 bike. It's not the actual Moto3 bike, so it's not as like legit. So
yeah. And just a heads up, we're getting some chat from Senior, who's going by Junior in the chat.
2.5 normally. So.
But he's saying that his money is on Carpe. The kid's consistently there, and he's much better at battling than Jose Rueda.
Yeah. I know that name. I've heard that name. Yeah.
There you go.
Are they both Rookies Cup kids?
Probably.
Yeah.
Fuck, half the field is Rookies Cup kids, right? Like kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the best feeder system
It seems to be. You remember early on, the chatter of rookies was like, nobody, rookies isn't really doing anything. But now it's like,
No.
I mean, the guy with the number 1 plate that hasn't raced all season in GP is a rookies guy, right? So
Yeah.
Most of them are.
Yeah.
A lot of them are.
Yeah.
Trevor makes a good point that, a lot of the viewing is because the producers can't get the camera. It's like they're not using the cameras in the back of the field to pick up the better battles because
Right.
it's not just at the front of the field. It's in, mid pack and, the different packs. There's a lot of stuff going on, and there's nobody in the trailer that's telling you, hey, we got a battle going on better down here. Let's use that footage and track that.
Right.
Like always at the front, which makes a lot of sense for the viewing public because, for us as enthusiasts, we like the battles. The battles are what's entertaining.
Yeah.
So, that's where the viewing's at. If we're not at the track because we can't enjoy the environment of being a fan at the track, I want to see some good racing on TV.
Mugello looks fun too. I mean, it has like a good up and down nature, super fast straight. Like
I saw they showed like an overhead shot of like the whole area, and there were dudes camping like way out in the vicinity.
It looked like Road America.
Yeah. That's kind of what I thought of too. I was like, this looks cool. Like that would be one of the GPs. Obviously, a lot of GPs that are cool, but that would be one that I'd be like, yeah, that's a bucket list one.
Yeah. Definitely.
I know. And Ginny and I actually talked about after we sold our house. We're like, hey, what are we gonna do with a little money? Do some vacation, and she was like, I don't want to go like the beach resort or something like that. I want to go do something fun. I'm like, what, like Italy? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, well, there's a GP race in June. She's like,
I remember saying that. Yeah.
No, Timmy with a good time. So
Senior in the chat saying how Mugello is like the number 1, the fans the most passionate.
Yeah.
So it is like Road America.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the same equivalent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rolling into Moto2, a couple of the stories that I got. Can Manu Gonzalez stay consistent? Because when the dude's on, he's on, but when he's off, he's off, and he's getting more of those wins down, and he's messing up less at qualifying and things like that. So
and Canet's what, 11 points back, something like that.
It's tight.
It's a tight championship for sure. It's not like a 40-point like what's going on in the other class.
Yeah, so like Canet, it seems like he's been pretty consistent, whereas in the past he hasn't been.
Right.
So that's where, I want to hear from the chat. Like, what do you guys think? Is this Canet's final year where he knows there's a couple of tracks that he's really good at, like Catalunya, and where else is he good at? I think he was good at Sachsenring. Like, I got to look it up. That's where Richard gets on me about not knowing my stuff because I have to.
Yeah, you got to worry about Richard getting on you for.
Yeah, right. Well, you told me that one time. You're like, you guys need to know your stuff before you start talking about this if you're going to go backwards. So,
I need to study more then.
Yeah, right.
Oh, dude.
But Canet can be consistent, but it's like, man, he always just you're like, come on, man, this is your time. He's a tattooed kid. He's fighting the. I don't know if everybody knows about the Dickie Bow thing, but he was wearing that because everybody, the establishment of MotoGP doesn't like him because he's not conformed like everybody else in this polished, thing where the Dickie Bow
neck tattoos and
yeah, dude, looking up there like MS-13, all neck tattoos and all that stuff. But
insane. Just that it is insane. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy. Like, it's cool. It's crazy, but like, wow.
Well, it's a character. Yeah, it's a character thing. It's like,
there was a talented guy in the States racing back in the day, privateer guy, won the Daytona 200, and he kind of fizzled out, and it was really hard for that dude to get a ride or whatever, just because he looked like an emo, whatever, tatted up, weird.
Oh, Joey.
Yeah, Pasquarello, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Pasquarello.
Dude,
Pirelli. Yeah.
like he came up around the same time as Wyatt Ferris, right? And they're like polar opposites. You got like you got like the one guy that's all tatted up and like a little weird looking, but is super talented. And then you got the other guy that's talented, but he's square looking. You know, the square looking kid like got more, you know.
Yeah, Joey looked like he was the lead singer of Panic at the Disco, dude. He was like
Wow.
because he
Okay.
even had like the lip ring too, if I remember
Oh,
correctly.
dude, yeah, like was that him or his chick, dude? Like
Yeah,
I
right.
swear.
Yeah, he did have that chick, and
I'm
he,
saying this on YouTube, and you know, people probably still know that guy or whatever. But man, like,
but he was cool.
I
He
used
had
to
that
joke that he and his
project.
chick wore the same pants and shoes and everything.
They had the
You know,
project.
hair care products.
Yeah, no, there was that project bike when he won the Daytona 200
Yeah,
on it.
It was a silver R6, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yep.
the PJ1 type deal, right?
Yeah. I remember watching that race actually and being like, I mean, I was young at that time, but I still knew. I was like, I don't even know who this guy. I've never even heard the name, but yeah, he got around good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good run for like was 2011, 2012, 2013.
That was just a bad time to have a good run, honestly. Those were
Yeah, it's a bad time. You know, I mean, that's when all the money was gone, and you know, DFG had done all that damage and all that.
Yeah.
So, bad time to come up as a rider in that time. You know, Ben Solis, same thing, right?
So, I feel like a couple of guys in that era kind of got shafted a little bit. That should have, you know.
Yeah, most of them that were talented to come in that class.
A lot of guys. Huntley Nash. There was a lot of guys.
Huntley Nash. That's another one, right?
Yeah, that is another name.
So going back to Moto2, we got Diego Moreira is also looking like a pretty solid threat. That battle with him and Canet was nuts.
Canet ended up with it, right? Like he got it, right?
Yeah, he did.
Dude, they went out so wide. Like he pushed him out so wide because who was coming?
Lopez.
Yeah, Alonso Lopez was closing in.
And he was.
Man, Canet did a heck of a job of staying around the outside of him, though. When Diego tried to force up the inside of him there, like that was.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That's
all the contact too. All the contact was just. It was out of. It was. It's amazing nobody in that group were on their face. Like it's like they're leaned over, full commitment, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I think that a lot of that is just Canet's. I mean, Canet's been doing this in this class for how long? Like the dude's got the experience to know when to just kind of let off the brake lever and force, you know.
It was Celestino Vietti. He was the one. He was trying to get a podium at home, and everybody, like you hear the fans cheering him on, like, "Come on, dude, you can do it!"
Yeah.
And then, dude, it was awesome. Like just to see, he was making up like half a second to a second, like because once they were mixing it up, man, they were slowing down real fast, and then he was making up those gaps, and then he couldn't get it done. It was a bummer, but yeah, that was awesome to watch. Like I'm glad they picked that up and let us watch that part. And then obviously Albert Arenas, is that a flash in the pan performance from him? Because we haven't seen that from him in forever.
I mean, he's
like 2 or 3 years he hadn't had a podium.
Yeah, dude. But the thing is, it's like Ben was talking about earlier, right? Like maybe he got a taste now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think, I don't know if this plays into, I think that he recently got arm pump surgery not too crazy long ago.
Right.
Could have something to do with it, but I don't know. He has been super hit or miss. Like,
right. I'm all about the wait and see with these guys, you know?
Yeah.
And like, what's the path for a guy like Canet? You know, is there going to be a seat open for a veteran Moto2 guy, dude?
How old
is
the GP? He's what?
He's still in his 20s.
Well, I mean, I guess he could go to World Superbike too.
Yeah.
And working out for Buliga.
Dude. I mean, that's the thing is, and Canet's kind of a little dude, so you know, it's gonna. I think because the pyramid is now just getting really flat, it's gonna be a lot harder for a lot of guys, and it's
dude,
stuff's gonna get competitive.
But then again, if we start talking about MotoGP, I still think there's
Yeah.
at least 4 dudes in that class that can bounce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Morbidelli's
So-
one of them.
Well, and that's what I wanted to bring up. So I want to hear from the chat. What can MotoGP do? Should they do anything about Morbidelli? And what is, what's his deal with crashing dudes out? Especially the Spaniards. Apparently, he
I
just
don't know. The
doesn't.
same could be said about
He doesn't like elation and
Marquez,
through,
right?
huh?
Mark Marquez has been crashing dudes out for years. This
Yeah.
year being an exception to that, but
Yeah.
all them years on the Honda, he would just wipe dudes out and get away with it with nothing happened to him. So
I mean, I was watching Hitting the Apex like a couple days ago, and it was just going back over all the crashes. He's taking all kinds of people out, and then it's just like then they made the points rule because of Marquez. They had the license rule. If you had 4 points, and then you had to start from the back of the grid.
Right.
How many does Morbidelli have? Does he like?
I don't know.
They took that away.
Oh, it's not a
They don't
thing
have that anymore. Yeah.
Oh.
It's all about long lap penalties and whatever. And he couldn't even get that right, dude. Like that guy's got to go, dude. I'm sorry. I don't like that dude.
Is it time for Morbidelli to go? Has he run his course because he was hot in the very beginning in 18, 19, 20?
I don't know. I think Superbike's in his future.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I think World Superbike. I think he'd do well in World Superbike. I don't know.
So.
I could see like maybe I don't know. I've seen those rumors go around about Honda and World Superbike, but I could see like them trying to snag him.
Yeah,
dude, like
I
him.
Mean,
truthfully,
I mean, just on the podium, our short guy Moto, just commented. But like at the end of the day, GP is such a cutthroat business that it's taken a long time for Morbidelli to get back on the podium, and is Rossi, it's Rossi's boy at some point, but it's like,
yeah, dude,
how long is that going to last, man?
I mean, look at what's his name, Aldeguer, right?
Yeah.
Like Aldeguer is like got heart, dude.
He's surprised.
Yeah, that dude's got heart. At least one of the dudes on the Trackhouse bikes, like those guys. But then you've got guys like Morbidelli, you got Miguel Oliveira.
Yeah.
You've got who else? Like, I mean, there's probably at least.
What have you done for me lately? You got at least
for
2 years.
Like honestly, Rins.
Yeah.
Right.
I was surprised Rins snagged a factory seat. Honestly.
Like, dude.
I don't know.
Honestly, even Mir. Like he's a world champion, dude.
He's a world champion. I don't know. I think Mir's been dealt some pretty bad cards.
I think so too. I think he really hasn't gotten a chance to get going. But it's hard when Zarco's outshining everybody.
Yeah, Joel, the RN is saying Fernandez and Oliveira. I agree.
Yeah. So let's
so on the Pramac seat, who is Top Rack replacing? Is it gonna be the Thriller?
I want to see honestly, I want to see Miller go to Honda World Superbike. Just saying. I think that would be legit.
Yeah. I just find it hard to believe that Pramac would get rid of Miller instead of Oliveira, even though I know I read something that Oliveira has like a contract with Yamaha, or how his contract is different than Miller's contract.
Yeah.
So it's going to be harder to break, apparently, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Short Guy Moto agrees with the Martin will be on a Honda next year.
That's what I'm seeing.
Oh yeah. I think that deal's done.
Yeah.
I think that deal.
I don't know. We'll see, right?
Yeah. I'm curious about that.
There's been all kinds of rumors about that dude for a while.
The other spicy conversation I wanted to get going in the chat is Alex blocking for his brother? Are all those P2s because he doesn't want to mess with his brother and he's not willing to throw it, at his brother and give him
I mean, on the one hand, little brother syndrome, dude, first thing you want to do is beat up your big brother, right?
Right.
So I don't know. There's that, but then this past race, it looked like that, dude.
But he knows that he will not. he will throw the kitchen sink at his little brother because he doesn't want his little brother to beat him.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't think Alex. I mean, you get paid more for race wins than you do second places, and like, yeah, they're brothers, but like, I don't know. I would find it hard to believe that anybody would tell him,
Yeah.
hey, block for your older brother. Who, I mean,
I think the
realistically,
older brother's giving him brother bonuses.
yeah, like unless he's in a cut of Mark's, I don't, who knows? But like,
Oh, they're living in the same house.
Yeah.
All his bills are paid. They
How
all
about how about this one? Joel RN is saying that Acosta's out at KTM too.
We'll see.
he wants out. I know he wants out.
Oh yeah, like he signed that contract and then KTM took shit, right?
Yeah.
But I want to know if Alex, if the brothers, because I think this is a good topic of discussion, because they're brothers and because they live together, and Alex is like, doesn't want to rock the boat.
Is Alex trying to earn Bagnaya's seat?
Maybe.
I think Bagnaya.
Then you got Ricky Bobby Calnaughton Jr.
Yeah. I guess. What were you going to say?
Yeah.
No, I was just saying that I think that Bagnaia at this point, honestly, like he's not going to want to play second fiddle to Mark probably for that long, honestly. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, yes, the Ducati's the best bike and he's on the best team for sure, but it just comes down.
Right now.
Everybody's got an ego right now.
Package.
Yeah, that could change. Who knows? Honda could come out swinging. Like, who knows? I don't know. I don't think that Bagnaia is going to want to play, be behind Marquez's shadow for that long.
Dude, and Marquez, I mean, say what you will about the guy, love or hate the guy. The dude has murdered everyone.
Yeah.
And he's murdered everyone all year. And, unless something drastic changes between now and next year, I mean, who says that? Yeah. Joel, even in the chat saying it, but I mean, no one's going to touch that guy.
No. He deserves it. I mean, he for sure deserves it. He's playing
as long as he stays upright and doesn't crash out of a bunch of races and give away points. Like every time he's been close, the championship's been close this season because he's throwing shit down the road.
Yeah,
he would have 100-point lead right now if he didn't throw shit down the road.
Yep,
right.
Probably.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, so, it's crazy.
I saw something where Pecco in a Honda, or excuse me, in a Yamaha suit.
Yeah.
And they're coming out with that B4 for next year.
Do you think that because Rossi and Pecco are tight, like,
Rossi's got the relationship with Yamaha?
Right. You could see something pulling some strings there that I could totally see.
Pecco and Quartararo as teammates?
Yeah, but unless whatever, I don't know what Yamaha type of budget's got, but what they're paying Quartararo right now, and Pecco's not going to be cheap. Like,
he's the most expensive. Fabio's the most expensive rider.
Yeah, like $12 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
So unless I don't know how that stuff works. That's kind of whatever. But like unless they're going to pony up to get two really really high profile riders like that,
maybe Pecco's like, screw it, I just want out of my Ducati contract and I want to go.
Yeah, so Joel brings up a good point. Early on in the race, you could see Pecco and Marquez scrapping. Like, Bagnaia looked like Bagnaia.
Awesome.
It was great, right? It was like, shit, he's going to take this thing, dude. And then he fucked up and then was in third, and that was it. And he took shots and he tried, but
huge shots. Shots that turned 2, 3.
I think he got within at one point. He got within like 0.3 of Alex, and Alex responded back to 0.7. So
I almost feel like in a way Pecco's trying. Like you could almost see it in his riding, like he was trying too hard, if that makes sense. Like he was so like, oh my god, I'm actually there now. Like Mark is here with me. Like he overdid it. Like he outrode himself a little bit, I think.
Yeah. Well, and he almost hit. I mean, he hit Mark with his front tire, and I think that shook him up enough to where it was like, nope,
And it's stuff like that where, like, in the past, if he knows he's got the guy's number, whoever it may have been, like, it's silly mistakes like that that just wouldn't have happened. And, like, yeah, he didn't lose a bunch of time in that instance, but, like, I've had that happen before where you don't necessarily lose a bunch of time, but, like, you know, it can mess up your flow, obviously. It rattles you. And I just don't feel like he makes those mistakes usually.
Yeah.
Not usually. Usually he's like a machine, right?
Yeah,
He's
he's
like
just
a robot. This year he looks lost.
right.
So weird.
Part bike, I think. Just he doesn't have that feeling with the GP25, but like,
is it? What do you think of what people have said that Ducati's kind of developed the GP25 around Marquez, and that's not working for Bagnaia? Do you think?
Well, I would
something?
say they didn't develop it around Marquez. I would say Marquez is capable of riding it with whatever engineering change they did. Pecco doesn't jive with it. He jived with the previous bike, and Mark is able to ride around it, so they're not doing anything about it. They're like, well, he's riding it fine. Why can't you ride it fine? And
well, if that continues, eventually he'll be the only one able to ride it, and nobody else will ride it.
Be Honda all over again.
Stuck, right?
I was going to say he did the same thing with Honda. Like, you could give Mark a shopping cart, he could probably figure out how to ride it. Like, it's just that's one of those things where Pecco's got to kind of buckle down and be like, look, it's not perfect, but like, wow, I got to do something. Like, I don't know.
That's the curse of Marquez, is that whatever manufacturer picks him up, he's going to make that thing, if it's a good bike, he's going to make it go really fast. And, whatever you do to the bike, he's just going to keep riding the piss out of it, and development's going to go to crap. And then you're screwed.
What do you mate? Like, this is totally different. What do you guys think of the Mugello livery stuff?
I thought it was cool. I thought that the Ducati one. I saw there was like they were doing something with the chess match, and it was something with, wasn't it Ferrari? They were
I don't know.
It was the Italian Renaissance or something like that.
Italian Renaissance.
I thought it was going to be more like flashy, maybe, and it came out and it was like.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, from far away, it looks like black bikes, and then they zoom in, and you're like, oh, that looks, the leathers look
cool. 46 bikes look sick. That's all.
The 46 bikes look better. Yeah,
those were cool.
Yeah. It was kind of weird not seeing the neon.
Yeah, but they had the big 46 on the front, which was sick.
Dude.
I love that part.
Yeah.
Turned out good. I thought the was cool, but.
And Digi got that one on the box and kind of stuck Pecco in fourth, which was a bit of a stab, but I mean, kid got it done.
Yeah, he did. That
was a good ride.
Yeah, I mean, it made it interesting.
Yeah.
Almost. Right.
Yeah.
Like, it was, it made me wake up from my nap.
Yeah. For sure.
Right.
But it's things like that where Pecco, I feel like, just wouldn't have happened in the past. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Joel's said it, and I think.
Yep. I was about to transition anyway.
Yeah, we're speaking of going racing and getting it done. We have a privateer guy here, and he's going to go race Superbike this weekend at the Ridge up in Washington.
Yeah. Find out nice and early tomorrow.
Yeah. Good for you, bro.
I'm not getting my limousine ride, but whatever.
Empowered charters, man. You too can ride in comfort and style.
Yeah, but they're only out in California. So
I gotta fly to Cali first, then take the charter.
Yeah, you could ride with me, bro. You could ride with me to the airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to say, man, like we said in the beginning, the Superbike Unlimited documentaries have been awesome. We got to watch the behind the scenes of what you guys had to struggle with over the weekend, and he still put it P4.
Yeah.
Amid, you had that one mistake, but like, dude, you were right there, and we were all cheering on, sadly, for Richie's bike to die out so you could pass him going up the hill in the straight, and then
he was running out of gas.
Yeah.
And then also, you know what? Your team made a big change between weekends. They started sending the engines to this certain place in Huntington Beach to build the engines, and holy crap, like, you made the first session. That was something.
Yeah, man. I mean, just as an overall statement,
that's attack performance, by the way.
Yes, for anybody who's reading between the lines.
Hint.
Attack Performances. Yes, that is who I'm running engines with now. Shout out those guys, no doubt about it. Super happy with that. Honestly, all jokes aside, I'm actually really happy to have that partnership there. That's something that just as a rider, like I aspire in any capacity to have that sort of partnership. So really cool to have that at the moment. And then, yeah, they've been putting, I hope that people, I mean, maybe people in these comments can give me some feedback or, positive, negative, whatever, but like they, Freddie and Superbike Unlimited and Flo at Flow for Law, like everybody's putting obviously a ton of effort into this program. I mean, it's not easy to go racing against the best guys, the best teams, Attack, etc. in the country here as a privateer. But that's kind of part of the reason why they're doing this whole video series, is to show you guys, like, look, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And
or unicorns and butterflies.
Or unicorns. Yeah, definitely not all of that. But like it shows, especially being the privateer smaller team, like it's no joke. Like it's definitely no joke. And
Superbike's a whole nother level. I mean, you've raced for years in the support classes, and now you're in the big boy class basically. And I mean, talk about the level up from the difference in the level of riding between stock 1000 and Superbike.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's number one, it's just the level of riding itself, the guys you're racing against. I mean, the Herons, the Fongs, the Gagnes, but like you're racing against, again, the best guys in the country. So that's, it wouldn't matter if we were riding Ninja 400s or Superbikes. That's going to be the same regardless. I mean, that forces me, to really look at myself in the mirror and be like, all right, I need to figure out how to rise to this occasion. And don't get me wrong, Stock 1000 was competitive last year for sure, and we had good success. But I knew that going into this year, like where I was at last year, that wasn't going to cut it. Like if I wanted to be, top 5, which I didn't know going into the year, honestly, where I would stack up. But if I wanted to be somewhat competitive, like it was going to have to be another level. But that, and then just the equipment, that side of things, we obviously have had our unlucky moments so far this year, just with that side of things. But it's one of those. It's kind of that same conversation as like we're not Freddie and the whole team. We're not half-assing it. Like if we're gonna go Superbike racing, then we're gonna put a legitimate Superbike on the grid, as close to a full factory Superbike as we can. And with that, there's a lot of positives, but there's also a lot that goes into those things. So as a first year privateer team, I mean, we're feeling some of those teething pains the first couple of rounds, but I mean, even given so, like we've gotten 2 top 5s so far this year. We almost snagged a podium last round out. So, and again, going back to the whole video series thing, like that is the whole point of this thing. And I would love to hear if anybody's been watching it or you guys even have feedback. They're trying to make it like literally the guy who is now making the videos. He's full-time. This is all he's doing. He was over, don't quote me on this, but he was over in Europe somewhere. He went to school for this, like cinematography. He had
he's not the guy with the GoPro going, hey.
Don't get me wrong. That's a different side of things, and I like that. I enjoy that, and so do the people. Like that's it's different. But this guy is like he had never been to any sort of motorsport event, from my understanding, before Road America.
Oh, so wow!
Never even been exposed to this stuff. I went up to the shop, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or whatever, to go over some stuff. Ed Sullivan was there at the time, so we were kind of just working on some things. And he showed me the trailer for the latest Road America video that came out, and I was like, "Dude, this is phenomenal!" Like
the trailer.
Yeah, he literally showed me the trailer, like the 30-second trailer or whatever it was, and I felt like he was really able to capture like both sides of things, from even him having no background on this stuff. Like it kind of gave a full synopsis of what goes on in the weekend.
Yeah, it was awesome. I
think the videos do a great job of promoting your guys' sponsors and supporters as well. I mean, and that's I had a pretty good chat with Freddie a while back when you guys first brought that pit box out, and I mean, there's a lot of teams in the paddock that saw that thing and they're like, what a waste of this and what a waste of
Oh, I'm
that. And
sure,
a
yeah.
lot of a lot of people saw the team working on it and setting it up for the first time and reading the IKEA instructions probably to put it together. And it took some time. And but I also see why, I mean, it's like everybody talked about it.
Right.
First thing you
Exactly.
see on TV when they showed this front straightaway was that stupid thing, right?
The Taj Mahal set up as
Yeah.
I mean,
So
and again, that's the thing. Like, it gets people talking. Number one, number two, it clearly it stands out for the people who support us, our sponsors, and number three, honestly, I look at it as just for the sport in general. If it stays stagnant, I don't care what it is, whether it's
Yeah.
something like that or the bikes or the classes, whatever it may be, like somebody make a change, somebody do something, like force a hand, like
Yeah.
we're all trying to make the sport better and build this thing. Like that's okay. Like if we want to be the ones to start this, then so be it. Like, whether it catches on and it stays or it doesn't, like at least it shows that like, hey, we're committed to this and we want to make, whether it's different or not, like we want to keep progressing the sport. So needless to say, yeah, that thing is an absolute structure. We run it out every night. Airbnb helps to pay it off. Dustin, you're more than welcome to stay.
yeah, I mean, Freddie says he lives in it in between rounds because it's
Sometimes I sleep in it, from round to round. Cuts down on
yeah.
the.
You got to, right, to get the money's worth out of it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, all jokes aside, it's cool.
Yeah, I think it was a solid gamble to separate yourself as a team to say, hey, look, we want our sponsors to see from a completely different level without having to feel like they're in the way. Yeah. And they get a totally different perspective than anybody else in the paddock, aside from the people in the tower, right? So, I think thinking that way is huge because, I think part of the sponsored conversation that Dustin and I had at a Road Atlanta was like, it's really hard to get one of the sponsors that are outside the industry and people excited about racing, like, because people don't really know about it. It's such a cult group of people that watch this stuff.
Right.
I think
we already have those people. That's the thing.
We don't need those people
that you're talking about. Dude, you don't need to market to the racer fan people because they're going to be there regardless. I mean, I talked to those people at Road America that have been camping there every year since
like
the woman in her 20s was pregnant with that woman, like it's like that.
Is going to stay. And that's where part of, like you said, I mean, literally, like if we can get one of those outside people, just getting them to the track in the first place is hard enough. But then people hold on to experiences and feeling that type of, like, some type of way when they're watching the races. If you can give them something as simple, even though it's not simple at all, bringing them up to the second story of a hot pit setup and watching it from a view that like nobody else literally has, like you said, other than being in the commentator booth, like, okay, that's something that they might remember, might be interested in. So that's kind of thought.
So you got to get the fire department pole to exit the thing. Right? You're like, oh man, I got to go plug the tire warmers in. Oh, great.
That's what we were saying. We can have like Flos, or somebody come down from the pole in there and come down, save the day. Like,
and then you could also use it for other things.
We didn't discuss that, but yeah, we could. Like we said, we're gonna try and pay this thing off. So
I mean, the possibilities are endless, right?
You said it, not me.
I did see, speaking of sponsors and other things, I'm sure a lot of people saw on social media, Keanu Reeves was at the GP race, and they had Mark Webber and Eric Bana was there as well. But Keanu was wearing his arch hat with Corey Alexander's logo on the side, which was really cool. It was really cool to see. But seeing in the comments, apparently Pat McAfee on his show talked about the Mugello Grand Prix. So I thought that was really interesting. I know Joe Rogan started getting into Formula One, and some other people Bill Burr talks a lot about Formula One on his podcast. So it's like all we need is to get some couple more mainstream people to start, talking about it and getting it
Well,
out there.
Giano's kind of a motorbike dude. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like his
that's
team,
that's
like, they
he's part of
brought
the
Corey. They brought Corey Alexander out. It was like him and Gar and a couple other dudes. They came out to our track day, the last event that I did, and Corey went out and tested that hooligan thing, and I mean, they're swimming in a deep pool, man. But Keanu's not just a fan of, like, he's not just some celebrity dude joining the gang, dude.
No, he's
like
in
that
it.
dude is a motorbike guy. Let's
Yeah.
make no mistake about it.
He's part of the cult. He's part of the cult.
Oh, he's one of our cult members of motorbike stuff, right? Like that dude eats, sleeps, breathes, and everything motorbikes. Like, make no mistake about that either. Like, big time motorbike fan, that guy. Yes, sir. So
I think that what you're saying, though, I think that it is headed in the right direction. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I've seen with Keanu getting involved, like, yeah, he's already been a part of motorcycles for a long time.
Yeah.
But, like, I think that I feel like I've just been seeing stuff like that and, like, little glimpses of it here and there on social media and some podcasts or whatever you want to say that, like, even and honestly, like, I know, Dustin, you were there at Road America, and yes, Road America always has a packed house, but, like, man, it was packed. And,
dude,
like,
I'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, I haven't seen anything like that since like 2005 when MotoGP returned to Laguna.
Yeah.
No, I just feel honestly, I do think that they're headed in the right direction. And I just saw today, I don't really know many of the artists, but I'm not really versed in this stuff, but they're doing some like concert Saturday night at the Ridge.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, with 3 like decently big name artists. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
My girlfriend actually kind of recognized the one song from the one artist. So I'm like, that's, it's actually good to see. So,
well, that helps keep fans there and buying beers and whatever. Or whatever the people in Washington are,
they're all beer snobs up there.
Kombuchas and
kombucha, matchas, and matcha and vodka and
yeah, probably, yeah.
Right.
I think they said there's going to be like a beer garden there as well. Or whatever.
Well, I mean, as far as getting mainstream, they did just they released a movie last year about motorcycle racing.
Oh my God. We're going to talk about the movie that you were a part of. Okay. I'm going to lean back. Go ahead.
They're doing the TT movie as well. So that was something that's coming out, which I thought was awesome. They just released a Formula One movie.
Dude, I was talking to somebody at the dog park that was asking me about if I'd heard of some racer guy with the last name Dunlop because they watched that Dunlop documentary thing. From the TT.
Yeah.
I think Formula One in an indirect way is helping us too with that.
Totally.
With it becoming more mainstream, it's just racing in general. Like, it's definitely helping.
Yeah.
And that TV deal that they just did with Peacock and NBC or whatever it is, like, that's huge for Superbike.
Yeah.
That's huge.
They can leave their rainbows at home.
Yeah.
Peacock.
But so I think they got to get the sound squared away because the sound didn't match up, when they started and when they were doing the national anthem. Yeah, when they started the feed, the very first race they did, the feed was just all jacked up, and it was like, whoa, what's going on? And
have you heard? I mean, look, MotoAmerica supports the show a little bit by giving us stuff to give away, and I don't want to talk shit about MotoAmerica because they're the hosts of our shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
But you know what, man? Like, I've got a bunch of complaints offline from people about the Live Plus app being like buffering, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I had Bill Russell on last week. He's talking about buffering with his brain, but it's like buffering when they're trying to watch the race, and it'll glitch out, and then they have to and then they watch it on Peacock, and they're like, good. So, any commentary on that, you guys? Or
to be honest with you, I don't think obviously most of the times I'm either in the race or getting ready for the race. So I actually can't even speak much on the moto.
Yeah, Ben's watching
You're the
MotoAmerica.
talent, bro. You're not watching it. You're in it. You're the star of the movie, bro. Like,
I'm on the live timing constantly though. That's like I literally the weekend starts in my Safari. I pull up the timing.MotoAmerica, whatever. That just stays on my phone the entire weekend. But that's all that I use really.
I have the live app running on my phone when I'm running around with the camera and stick it in people's faces.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't seem too glitchy to me, but you know, some people maybe they have Taco Bell internet. I can't really say.
I was gonna say check your internet. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what are your plans for this weekend, Ben? Has the team found some juice for you? Have you done extra push-ups or something? Like what's the deal? What's your goals? What's the plan?
Always some extra push-ups. No, I mean honestly, same as I went pretty well here last year at the Ridge. We got a second in stock 1000 here last year.
Right.
So I feel like I kind of honestly, this wasn't one of my favorite tracks before last year for whatever reason. I don't dislike any track to be honest with you, but I feel like I kind of figured something out.
Except Brainerd.
Dude, but I actually go well at Brainerd, so I can't even say that. I don't know. I'm indifferent. Let's just say I'm indifferent about that place. But no, I think that the R1 works well there at this place. Honestly, like you know, anybody's been following along, they'll know we just need a clean week. We just need to get all of our sessions in, all of our laps. If we can do that, we'll qualify better. This bike is doing phenomenal starts this year, so hopefully I didn't just jinx us, but I feel good getting off the line with this thing.
How many times per lap are you hitting first gear at the Ridge?
See, that's the thing. I didn't hit it on the stock bike. I always tried to stay away from first gear because we didn't have the gearbox, so that thing loved to pop into neutral. But I'm assuming that I'll be using first gear probably at least twice at this place, maybe 3
with
times.
the chicane, Lombard Street,
maybe even
at the before Lombard Street, like the left after the fast uphill, right?
Yeah, in the first sector or
I don't know. It's like
no,
right,
the third, end of the lap. Yeah, might use it there. So there might be what do you know?
Oh no, John Wrighty's commenting on my dog.
Yeah, it's not my dog, bro.
Yeah,
that's not Owen, dude. Owen's not barking right now.
Sorry about that, John.
But no, I think it'll be good. Good weekend. If we can, we just need laps. We need every session, and we got to just give your boys some problems, Dustin. That's it. That's what it comes down to.
Did you get the neutral lockout on the new motors?
Yeah, we've had that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But his new motor's a little more. They get a little more poop than the previous motors.
These motors
are engines. They're not motors. They're engines, right?
Engines.
Yeah.
This engine is strong. It felt really good at MotoAmerica, and I'm excited to see.
It looked fast as shit at MotoAmerica, dude. Like,
if you look back at previous years, Yamahas and whatever, all that stuff, like engines are strong. The engines are strong.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was JP was jumping out of his seat when you rolled into fourth, coming out of turn 5. He was like, "Yeah, look at Ben Smith in fourth, coming out of turn 5. Go, Ben!"
He's been great. He's been giving me some good really talks before the races this year. Just along the lines of like, hey, look, you're the privateer this year that has the chance to kind of stick it to some of the factory boys. Like, this is just little insights of what he's gone through in his past and like kind of a more of a mindset type of way. And I've even hit him up on Instagram after the weekends and just been like, hey, look, I appreciate it. Like anything that I can get, I'm gonna definitely take. I'm not taking it for granted. So it's all plays into the big puzzle, honestly.
Like has the level in Superbikes now that you're in the mix and you're a top 5 guy, I guess now. So
you got 2 of them so far. So.
Yeah, bro. So talk about that a little bit. Like, did it surprise you? Did anything surprise you about who you're racing against, or is there something that you wish you would have known prior, or like talent level wise, or any of the specific talented people that you're participating against?
No, honestly, like I said, it really just comes down to like, I knew that making the step up to Superbike on a legitimate Superbike was going to take, like I said in the beginning, just me looking at myself in the mirror and being like, look, it's going to take more than just me going out on track and trying to figure it out myself. Honestly, a lot of what I've done between this off season and after every weekend and leading up to weekends, like literally just trying to be a student of the sport at this point. Like I know that I can, honestly, I know that I can do it. I know that I can race these guys heads up. It's going to take time. They've obviously got a lot more experience under their belt at this level, but at the end of the day, like it's not all that complicated. Like if we can put everything together, like I really do believe, I'm a big believer in becoming a student of the sport, and that's kind of what I've tried to do this year, is just studying each individual guy a little bit as much as I can. And even if I can hang on to them for a couple of corners during a practice session or something like that, like that's huge for me. And to be honest with you, it's come a little bit quicker and a little bit easier, especially given what kind of circumstances we've been dealt so far.
Yeah.
Where like in a practice session, if I've got, let's say a Richie or a Gagne or somebody that I roll out with, it's not like they're just leaving me right out of the gate. Like I can actually stay with them and ride with them.
Get a look.
Yeah, get a proper look at them. So that's been huge. Like that's a lot of that is to do with the machine too. Like that simply wouldn't be possible on a stock 1000 bike.
Right.
I don't believe. But
Well, how about the data stuff? Like, I mean, obviously the bike has a lot more electronic nanny shit than your stalker, right?
yeah,
So share a little perspective on that too, like your post practice and post race debriefs, and like what kind of things are you asking, not specific, not to be super specific and tell the secrets or whatever, but like what kind of stuff were you shocked at anything they can have control over? Like you get out the track map and you're like, I need a little bit more wheelie control right there, and they give it to you? Or is that how it works? Or like, what do you think?
you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, like going into it, I knew that you could be super specific with what you wanted, and that's kind of part of what I had to learn too, was almost being more picky with what I want in my riding and with the bike, because they literally can do things down to, a crazy scale of what you could want as far as adjustability. But a lot of what has helped me so far this year is honestly having Ed and Freddie there when I come back after a session and sit down and look at the computer. A lot of the times, what I've already thought of and put on a track map or something like that, they've already gone over the data, and they most of the times are bringing those issues up before I even have to say them, right?
Okay.
So like we're almost every time we've been on the same page before a word's even been spoken, which is really cool, because that makes it to where it's like, okay, yep, that's something that I'm feeling.
Oh, I really am feeling that.
Right. It validates me too, and it gives me confidence that like if I would have spoken first in this conversation and said that this was an issue with the bike, it really was, not an issue, but it's something that we can make better. And there's been things too where they've kind of just the questions that they've asked and whatnot, I've been able to been like, okay, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that could be better. Because I simply haven't had that in the past. Like I haven't been able to be that picky with what I want. So that's still a process. I'm still in that process of, I think, fine tuning that and learning it, but definitely getting there. I'm happy with how that's been coming along.
That's cool.
It's getting rid of those hindrances to get you to your optimum lap time.
Right. And it's all about doing it as quickly as possible, because you realistically don't have that much track time throughout the weekend. So it's like, all right, cut out the BS. We're going to start right here and just click off from there.
And like
did you ride it all between rounds?
I did. So I took not the Superbike, just my stock bike, and I went to VIR. Azra was racing there 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, and I didn't race. I just did the practice day on Friday because obviously we're racing there this year, and I haven't been there since 22, and that was on an R6. So I wanted to just kind of see what it was like again and ride it on a big bike before we went there. So, and I felt really good. And honestly, after I did that, I was like, I really want to make more of an effort. It's a process, but I really want to make more of an effort to get out and ride this, even if it's a stock bike, ride it more in between these rounds, because it's just anytime that you can keep your brain up to speed like that, I feel like it can't hurt, you know?
Yeah. And like I said, when you started off on this venture on the Superbike, every time you've had a bike underneath you that was working, you were there. So it was never an issue of needing time to do it. You were doing it.
He's never had any time.
Yeah. So when you had it, you've gotten it done. And that's the thing is like once you actually start to get more time underneath your belt at a weekend, you'll be farther up the front. And I'm confident of that.
Right. And that's where, like, even going into Sunday's race at Road-America, we literally only had practice one session. We sat out Q1 because only your guy Bobby went out, Fong, which kudos to him. Q2, we had the mechanical thing. We got 3 laps that were not good regardless. Race 1 we missed. We had Sunday morning warm up, and then that was it. So we really only had 2 sessions going into the race on Sunday. So it just goes back to the whole phrase of like, if we can just get the clean weekend and get the laps, I mean, even for me as a rider, like clearly that's going to make it easier for us. But just me having the confidence of like, all right, look, at least I'm on a level playing field with these guys. Like, So
yeah, I agree. Well, awesome, man. I know you got to get going. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in and give us some real insight here. I'm seeing some stuff in the chat asking me about my return to Willow.
Yeah, I did see that too.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. You know, the Willow thing was. I mean, it's crazy that it took me 15 years to get to go back there. You know, all it had to do was change management there / ownership, right?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. The place. It's like a time capsule. You know, what do you expect? I had a chat with John Ulrich earlier today about Willow Springs, and it's like, you know, I'm optimistic. You know, I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen there, but I think it would be cool to host some TrackDaz events out there. And quite frankly, the place it's still 9 turns, and it's, you know, there's only 2 places on the track that aren't over 100 miles an hour. So, like, it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of fun, right? Like, oh, look at that. The man line. Okay, cool.
That'd be a sick track to bring back.
Yeah, so anyway, shit, we're going to end the stream with more than 30 people watching? Wild. I know, right?
Yeah.
That's good. I had Bill Russell on last week, and we had a pretty good stream going, and then Bill just kept talking, man. Like, and I was like, Bill, we lost the audience. He's like, fuck them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
all
right, you guys. Well, you know what? Thanks for being on the show, Ben. Wish you the best of luck this week and have a safe flight. And hope you guys get all the practice sessions that you need. And maybe you could, you know, hopefully, you know, we finish Yamaha's 1, 2, 3 on the box.
Yes, sir. We got it there. He said it first.
Yeah. So there you go. All right, man. And thanks everybody for watching. Mash all the buttons, all that stuff.
Do it. Join the Facebook group,
dude.
I am ecstatic to see Ben racing at the Ridge this weekend because it's his new favorite track. And and then I think we got a MotoGP doubleheader, so I think they're also racing again this weekend. So looking forward to it. Again, Ben, thanks so much. And
dude.
Go join the Facebook group and start talking some trash.
Yeah, and I'll see you with the GoPro stick in my hand later this weekend.
I better see it on Thursday. I'm ready. I'm ready.
You'll see me on Thursday. We get there Thursday some point. So yeah, good times.
I'll be there.
Right on, man.
All right, boys.
See you guys.
See you.
Thank you.